episode of Jonathan George Villaria's Warden Party. I am Jonathan George Villaria, and I am excited to share with you how we can expand our knowledge of the world through the English language. Our videos cover a range of topics such as literature, history, science, and more to provide you with a well-rounded learning experience. Regardless of whether you are a beginner or experienced learner, our expertly curated videos offer captivating and enlightening content to help you enhance your language proficiency. Today, we embark on a journey through the classic work titled The World is Flat. This book by the renowned author Thomas Friedman has opened a window to the world in the era of globalization and explosive growth of digital technology. Join me as we explore the ideas presented in this book and how we can apply them to our lives and careers. The Growth is Flat is not just a book, it's also a blueprint for the profound transformations in our world. Thomas Friedman, a celebrated figure in the fields of diplomacy and economics, has introduced us to a new world, a flat world where borders blur and everything is interconnected. From this work, the term "the world is flat" has become commonplace. Is often used to describe the phenomenon of globalization, especially in the early years of the 21st century. This was the golden era where these elements reinforced each other, facilitating the emergence of the flat world. We have witnessed the rapid development of globalization and technology, but have we truly grasped the real significance of the world is flat? This is a key point that Friedman has uncovered. The book argues that a flat world demands a shift in our thinking and problem-solving approach. We need to transition from vertical thinking to horizontal thinking across various domains and cultivate the flexibility required to thrive as a city in today's economic and social landscape. This accelerates the process of the flat world formation, altering the dynamics of society, politics, and social life, creating a more interconnected and accessible world than ever before, facilitating communication among individuals worldwide. However, like all outstanding works, The World is Flat has also sparked controversy. Some argue that the author is overly optimistic in his assessment of this era and doesn't emphasize the downsides of globalization enough. This has made the book somewhat divisive between theory and reality, with not everyone agreeing with every viewpoint presented within it. It's undeniable that globalization has also given rise to complex issues such as terrorism, smuggling, and illegal immigration. Many nations have had to implement legal measures and strict controls to mitigate the negative effects of globalization. On the other hand, as more developed nations pull ahead, weaker countries may experience setbacks, leading to greater trade imbalances. In such a scenario, traditional agricultural production may lose significance, and instead, the focus shifts to modern industries and international trade. In the first wave of globalization, nations needed to adopt to a global perspective to achieve sustainable development and competitiveness against other countries. In the second wave of globalization, businesses had to change how they manage and produce to survive in the modern economic landscape. In the third wave of globalization, individual workers also needed to enhance their specialized skills and adaptability in their work. Thomas Friedman has crafted a captivating work, narrating with engaging storytelling and vividness through a multitude of examples and intriguing anecdotes. The author explains the concept of a flat world and how it applies in today's reality. In the era of flatness, wealth and development will spread to countries meeting three essential conditions: strong infrastructure, appropriate education, and effective management. The reality within the American context and the significance of free trade has left many American workers concerned about competing with laborers worldwide. In fact, the reason for job loss is not due to their work being outsourced to foreign labor, but rather the disease of replacing those jobs. Moreover, free trade drives Americans to train a highly skilled workforce with superior creativity compared to many rival nations. From a business perspective, when facing the pressure of change, companies need to enhance their skills rather than erect barriers. Small companies can leverage new tools and collaborate with one another to develop and compete with large corporations. Conversely, large companies also need to pay close attention to customer feedback and encourage them to participate in the product innovation process by soliciting their input to create the most user-appropriate products. A flat world demands flexibility and innovation in education. Faced with an ever-changing world, education systems in every country need to become more flexible to stimulate students' curiosity and passion. The formula CQ plus EQ greater than IQ is becoming more critical, meaning that intelligence is no longer as important as the third for learning and the passion for experience. The right hemisphere of the human brain often focuses on art and emotion rather than calculation and reasoning. It plays a crucial role in individual decision making and empathy. The author points out that the right hemisphere should help us develop empathy in a broader perspective. To succeed in today's flat world, we need to combine high technology with creative and sharp thinking. Traditional education often concentrates on developing the left hemisphere, but in the flat world, we need to balance both brain hemisphere to create conditions for children to unleash their full potential. Globalization does not equate to absolute cultural dominance. This book shows how the flat world is bringing about the cultural and linguistic revolution. The internet and the digital technologies have brought nations closer, opening up opportunities for global learning and communication. Therefore, author Thomas Friedman has transcended geographical, cultural, and religious barriers to illustrate that the world has become flatter with the explosion of digital technology. The concept of the flat world is defined very clearly by the author, where each individual can connect to the world through a computer or an internet-enabled smartphone. The book is a synthesis of the impacts and potential that globalization offers to humanity. One of the strengths of this book lies in its ability to synthesize all aspects of this 21st century, particularly in the context of the technological boom and the trend of globalization. This book discusses a range of crucial issues, including the environment, education, economics, politics, and various other topics, all stemming from the technological revolution currently underway. The author has cited a multitude of information sources and economic articles from leading authors worldwide, making the information more accessible and understandable for readers. The book provides a very clear insight into how the world has become more interconnected, demanding change and innovation in all aspects of life. From promoting global thinking to the development of diverse culture, the world is flat is a valuable source of knowledge about the future of the world and how we can adapt, and thrive in this flat era. Although written almost 20 years ago, this book still holds value and accurate predictions about the future of the world. It is a good choice for young people who want to understand economics. However, the length of the book may make many readers feel pressure by the large amount of information. The World is Flat is not just classic work on economics, but also a valuable source of knowledge that helps us gain a better understanding of the future of the economy and society. Thomas Friedman has created a visionary and broad perspective and has made intriguing statements about the future of the flat world. Thank you for joining me in this episode. Your questions, comments, and feedback are always welcome and appreciated. So please don't hesitate to leave them in the comment section below. And if you haven't already, please do hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more interesting and enlightening content. By hitting the notification bell, you'll be sure to never miss any very exciting and thought-provoking episodes. Don't forget to share our channel with your friends and family who may also find our content beneficial. We are committed to providing you with high quality, well researched, and engaging content that will help you improve your English language skills and Spanish knowledge. And I look forward to sharing more insightful and inspiring things with you in the near future.